flight of the Space Shuttle Challenger was scheduled to launch from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida into a 153 nautical mile circular orbit. The mission was scheduled for 7 days and was to have ended on the shuttle landing facility at the Kennedy Space Center. During their time in space, the crew was scheduled to accomplish 6 major objectives. 1. Deploy the tracking data relay satellite on an inertial upper stage. 2. Deploy and retrieve the Spartan-Halley Comet research satellite. 3. Perform teacher in space lessons. 4. Conduct fluid dynamics experiments. 5. Conduct 3 experiments from the student experiment program. And 6. Record and photograph visual observations of the Earth in continuing studies of oceanography, meteorology, and geology.
We remember Dick Scobie, the commander who spoke the last words we heard from the Space Shuttle Challenger.
Francis R. Dick Scobie, commander of the Challenger 7 crew, often joked about not being a very good student and insisted that learning didn't come easy. Nevertheless, he earned a B-plus average in aerospace engineering and received a Bachelor of Science degree from the University of Arizona. In 1965, he received a commission in the Air Force and earned his wings as a jet pilot in 1966. As a pilot, Scobie completed a number of assignments, including a combat tour in the Vietnam War, where he was awarded the Air Force Distinguished Flying Cross, as well as the Air Medal. Scobie was selected as an astronaut candidate by NASA in January 1978. His first shuttle trip occurred on April 6, 1984, as pilot of the Challenger. The mission won high praise when the crew successfully retrieved an ailing satellite, repaired it on board the orbiting Challenger, and then replaced it in orbit using a robotic arm. Robert Crippen, commander of the mission, called Scobie the unsung hero of the mission for operating the orbiter smoothly. Scobie was then chosen to be the commander of the Challenger 7 mission. Apollo astronaut Alan Bean, who helped him train, said that Scobie struck people as a natural leader. "You don't have to draw him any diagrams," Bean said. Scobie and his wife June spent much of their free time talking with students and educators about the wonders of spaceflight. They entertained gifted students from across the state at their home. Dick Scobie spoke regularly at the conventions of the National Association of Science Teachers and the Students and Programs for Gifted Children. Dick Scobie once said, "When you find something you really like to do and you're willing to risk the consequences of that, you really probably ought to go do it. If something ever does go wrong, I hope that doesn't mean the end of the space shuttle program." Scobie understood that every launching of a space shuttle was a technological miracle. He is survived by June and their 2 children, Kathy and Richard.
We remember Michael Smith, who earned enough medals as a combat pilot to cover his chest, including the Navy Distinguished Flying Cross, 3 Air Medals, and the Vietnamese Cross of Gallantry with Silver Star, in gratitude from a nation he fought to keep free.
Michael J. Smith Pilot was born April 30th, 1945 in Beaufort, North Carolina. Married to the former Jane Jarrell, he was the father of 3 children, Scott, Allison, and Erwin. Smith once said, "I can never remember anything I wanted to do but fly." Commander Smith began his Navy military career after graduation from high school in 1963. He entered the United States Military Academy, where he earned the B.S. degree in Naval Science in 1967. A year later, he received the M.S. degree in Aeronautical Engineering from the United States Naval Postgraduate School. He subsequently completed Navy aviation jet training at Kingsville, Texas, receiving his aviator wings in May 1969. Mike Smith served his country well as a fighter pilot. This is evident by the number of special honors he received, including the Navy Distinguished Flying Cross, 3 Air Medals, 13 Strike Flight Air Medals, and others. Mike Smith was selected as an astronaut candidate in May 1980. The Challenger 7 mission was his first space shuttle flight.
We remember Judith Resnick, known as JR to her friends, always smiling, always eager to make a contribution, finding beauty in the music she played on her piano in her off hours.
Judith Arlene Resnick was born in Akron, Ohio in 1949. After graduating from Firestone High School in Akron, she attended Carnegie Mellon University, where she received a BS degree in electrical engineering. Dr. Resnick worked as a biomedical engineer at the National Institute of Health in Bethesda, Maryland, from 1974 to 1977, where she performed biological research experiments concerning the physiology of visual systems. Dr. Judith Resnick became the first astronaut of Jewish descent and also the second woman in space when she traveled on the maiden voyage of the orbiter Discovery in August of 1984. During this 7-day mission, the crew deployed 3 satellites and successfully activated the solar cell wing, the student crystal growth experiment, and photography experiments. She and her fellow crew members were dubbed Ice Busters after they successfully knocked ice particles from their ship using a robotic arm. Dr. Resnick spent her free time playing classical piano, running, bicycling, and preparing for her next job as flight engineer on the Space Shuttle Challenger. She had become a different person at NASA. Her mother believed she had found her niche. After her first flight, Dr. Resnick said, "The important thing is to be dedicated enough. I believe I'm both dedicated and qualified enough to do whatever NASA calls on me to do."
We remember Gregory Jarvis. On that ill-fated flight, he was carrying with him a flag of his university in Buffalo, New York. A small token, he said, to the people who unlocked his future.
Gregory B. Jarvis was born August 24, 1944, in Detroit, Michigan. Jarvis enjoyed playing squash, bicycle riding, cross-country skiing, bikepacking, backpacking, racquetballing, and whitewater river rafting. He also played classical guitar for relaxation. In July 1969, he entered the Air Force and was assigned to the Space Division in El Segundo, California, where he specialized in advanced tactical communication satellite designs. Gregory Jarvis was selected twice as a payload specialist, but unfortunately was replaced by a senator and a member of the House of Representatives. Finally, the opportunity came, and he was at last chosen to fly in the Challenger. He considered himself a workaholic, and he eagerly awaited his chance to fly in space. He said, "I'm excited, but not nervous." Greg is survived by his wife, Marcia,